Patric Young, host of The Young and the Rowdies. Here we are again, another week, another episode where we get to dive into everything that is Florida basketball. And guess what? I just moved to my new apartment, so this is the very first episode that I get to do in my new apartment. Thank you guys so much for sharing, for listening, for allowing me to use this platform to continue to spread the love of basketball in the lives of these great men and women that have come through the program and have gone on to do great things and just going through things in life. Anyways, again, continue to share this podcast. I thank you guys so much for so far. I think we have 72 5-star reviews. A few months ago, I had no idea where this was going to go, but just reading one of these reviews from Hop Off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This podcast is great. Good guys, and it gave me a look into many things and changed my perspective on many things. I definitely recommend giving it a listen. I'm not sure what the many things were. Wasn't super specific, but anyways, I really appreciate the reviews, and I thank the Field Media of 68 so much for allowing me this platform. Without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce this next guest. This is going to be a great show. He's a current player to the roster. I've been trying so hard to get him on the show, and it's going to be great. We're going to get into a lot from his journey of being a highly recruited player to the adversity that he's faced, to some other things that he got involved into off the court. But yeah, here we go. Coming on to the show hot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Mr. B Relentless himself. If you can't recognize my man, Scottie Lewis, happy early birthday. Know it's coming up around the corner. My man finna be legal very soon. Scottie, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good, man. It's game day. Can't be sad on game day, so I'm good.
So, Scottie, let's start from the beginning, brother. How did you come to love, like, your upbringing with sports and everything? Like, did you start playing basketball right away?
No, not really. I was into a lot of other things before I started playing, like, any sport. I moved in with my dad when I was like 12, 13. I moved down to Georgia. I had always lived with my mom at that point, and my dad was a basketball player. My older brother Jordan was a basketball player. He and I are pretty close. He's my best friend. Then we moved down there. I actually tried out for a football team first. And my first football practice, we were running up hills. In the middle of practice, I quit and walked back and said, "This is not for me." And then 10 minutes later, my brother Jordan walks back there because he just got into a fight with one of his teammates. Literally 10 minutes later, then he quit football. And then we just both stuck with basketball and just always were playing. And my dad used to just shit on us all the time because he was good. He could shoot. He was taller than us, stronger than us. And then, he won't do that now. But,
no, of course not.
But yeah, my dad honestly got me started playing basketball. And at a young age, he kind of just asked me that I want to take it seriously. And when I said yes, I made a commitment to myself. And kind of at 6th grade, going into 7th grade that year was my first year playing, my first summer. And it was 6 a.m. wake-ups and just working out all the time every day before school, after school. And, I think my dad actually set a really strong foundation for me athletically. And when I moved back up north with my mom to Jersey and New York, I just kept that in me. So,
yeah, you already had those habits instilled in you and your dad helped you so much. What was your process in training and getting better, staying motivated, seeing other guys at your age at that time, whether they were better than you or the same level? What kept you going or was it just seeing guys like Kobe Bryant or whoever it may be that you I want to model my game and the things that they say that helps them stay motivated and to become great?
I think it's a mixture of things. When I first started playing, I was terrible. Only the Georgia Tar Heels. I was playing on my dad's rec league team in Linwood, Georgia. And I was in this little gym with 6 courts. And Georgia Tar Heels was playing I was playing two age groups above me, and they were playing my age group, and their coach saw me and stuff like that. And obviously could tell that like I wasn't supposed to be out there with the older guys. Because I was really skinny, just really long arms, just super agile, things like that. And he asked my dad about me, and next thing you know, the next game I'm playing for that team.
Wow.
And some of my best on that team, they went on to do crazy things, play college football, basketball, still playing, obviously. And I always looked around and so many guys were better than me. Like so many guys better than me. I was literally on my team to block shots and run the floor. I remember, like, I sucked so bad. I remember the first free throw I ever made in the game, and like everyone in the gym just like erupted because like I had never got before then. Like I remember, I was in like a Baptist church basement, and like it was like 3 courts in there, and literally like everyone knew who I was just because I was like the tall like 6th grader, 5th grader, you know, and everyone just went crazy. So after then, like that feeling of just like that, you know, that like joy of like being successful, like I always wanted to keep that. So I just worked that summer. And I ended up getting hurt my first summer in Jersey, and I just worked on my strength and stuff like that. Then I got back, I was like, it's time, you know, just to have everyone know who I am and be able to just like, so I guess it was a mixture of stuff. Obviously Kobe has like every player. And he's taught me a lot personally, but just watching him and listening to his podcast and his interviews and just trying to embody his work ethic, things like that. It's a hard thing for most people to understand, but his work ethic is so crazy. And when you try to do yourself, the toll it takes on your body and the toll it takes on like everyone else around you, it's a hard thing to try to fathom. But I'm here where I'm at.
Yeah. You know, when I look at Kobe, man, so there were so many things that people like say he rubbed people the wrong way or whatever, but this guy just wanted to win and become great, and he didn't want anything to get, not even himself. Like I listened to him on Jay Shetty's podcast called On Purpose, and he talked about this one thing that he does. He doesn't negotiate with himself. Meaning, because a lot of times we're our own worst enemy, or we'll allow our thoughts to stop us from doing something that we said. Like, oh man, you know, I said I was going to get to the gym at this time and do that, but you know, I ain't feeling super well. He's like, nah, ain't no negotiating. This is a dictatorship. If I said I'm going to do this at this time, get this many shots up, stay in the gym this amount of time, I'm doing it. And I was like, dang, that's what separates him right there. Because so many guys, you know, motivation gets you started. You can start like, I'm motivated to get on this diet. I'm motivated to read more. But if you don't put the habits in place to continue, because some days you ain't going to be motivated, but like subconsciously, if you create those habits, you're going to walk into it. And once you start, you're like, dang, I'm here. Let me get better. Let me do what I, you know, set out to do. And I'm sure that's something that you had to learn along the way in the process.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, ever since I was in high school, I always preach to people, like, it's always better to be, you know, determined instead of being motivated. You know, motivation comes and goes. It comes in spurts.
Yep.
Kind of like, you know, they need a motivation for their next painting, their next whatever. But if you're a driven person, you know, that's always something that's, you know, it's within you. That drive is constantly there and it goes. And what makes you want to constantly get better every day, it's something that's super, super consistent. So once I found out what drove me every day, I always kept that in the back of my mind. I'm always writing stuff on my board and in my notebooks and talking to people, asking for advice to try to keep fueling that, you know, that drivenness. So I agree with you for sure.
Absolutely, brother. So when, you know, you said you came out and you had injury, you were healing it up a little bit, coming to that next year, you were like, I'm ready to go. Like when did things really start to click for you from that? Yeah, you know, not in the sense of I need to get better, because we always not gotta have that mindset, I need to get better, but where you're like, I'm finally like super competitive. I'm the one people want to not, you know, take down because I'm, you know, you're the man at that time. You know, I would say, you know, being that the beginning, that defender, blocker type player you were at the beginning, helped that foundation for you to cultivate that part of your game. Because, you know, people look at you and they see your size and your athleticism where you play hard on both sides. You just want to win. When did things click for you that you can be that guy, that you are that guy?
I'm not really sure. I don't think that it's clicked. Still trying to figure out like my identity as a player, and obviously that athletic. That's what I'm categorized as now. Trying to expand my game on both ends of the floor. But I kind of just go out there and play and do my best in order for my team to win. I love like part of like what I've always done in my entire life. So I love to win. So whatever my coach or my team needs me to do for that to happen, like that's just how I play. Yeah. Whether it's me scoring 5 points and getting 4 steals, 4 blocks, and like 5 rebounds, like just doing a bunch of the glue guy, like intangible stuff. And anything I can do on the offensive end, that's a plus for my team. That's a plus for myself, obviously. So it's just whatever it takes to win. I don't think I have that mindset yet to where like I feel like, like I'm that guy. I did a little bit in high school because it was just myself and another teammate. But I've kind of had to like change my approach. Yeah. For me, like any problems and deficiencies that I have as far as basketball goes have never been physically. It's always been like from the neck above, being confident in myself. And like you said, like sticking to doing stuff that I say I'm going to do and being extremely consistent with those things in gameplay and in practice and in individual workouts. So just trying to work on my mental right now. And I think once I figure all that out and what works best for me, I'll be able to create that mindset of just like, I'm him, so. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the work that we put in, even that's what I love about basketball is that in sports in general, man, it correlates so much to life, to the consistency, the discipline, the sacrifices of this is what you say you want to achieve. These are the things I value. This is where I say I want to go. All right, let me take a real look at myself as a basketball player, as a person, as a man. Am I making decisions? Am I sacrificing? Am I actually doing things that align to where I say I'm going to go? If you are, continue pursuing those things. If not, go back to the drawing board. What do I need to change? What do I need to fix? What do I need to improve so I can, or are those things actually truly valuable to me that I say they are, and if they're not, that's fine too. But, it just helps when we're so real with ourselves because no one knows us better than ourselves. But so obviously in high school, you might have not thought that you were there yet, but as we know, you were a big time recruit. There were a lot of eyes and scouts and people that saw the capability in you of who you can be. How did you handle all of that? Let's say, I don't want to call it noise, but because it feels kind of good, like to get that recognition, but it can be noise because that stuff can distract you from the work that you were putting in that consistency. What's going on, Rowdies? We'll get back to the show in a minute, but first, let me tell you about our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook. With March Madness beating down our door, DraftKings is the best way for you to get a little action in on the game. If you have not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app yet, what are you waiting for? It's the safest, it's the most secure, it's reliable, and it allows you to safely deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. And this week, they are offering my listeners a pretty sweet deal. If you sign up now, like right now, in this very moment, with the promo code FIELD68, that's FIELD 68, you can turn $1 into $100. If one of the main event fighters in the UFC, 259 this weekend, lands a single punch, one single punch, that's it. One punch to turn into $1 into $100. Wow, I'm going to do that for sure. And don't worry, if MMA isn't your thing, DraftKings Sportsbook offers odds and promos on basketball, hockey, or whatever sport you're watching. But since they're basically giving away $100, you might as well sign up now, watch a little UFC, and remember to use the promo code FIELD68. That's FIELD68. Must be 21 years or older. Offer available for a limited time only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. How did you handle all of that, being McDonald's All-American, top 10 recruit. Oh, Scottie, look at that guy. Oh, he's going to Florida. Like, how did you handle all of that stuff?
Honestly, I didn't handle it. And I mean that in the best way. I didn't handle it. All those, the attention, the accolades, the following, the interviews, whatever the case may be, I knew that I was going to work my ass off in order to receive those things. So all that came, it came young, really young in middle school, where I wasn't mentally there to be able to handle that stuff. But it hit a certain point where, one, I got really used to it. And secondly, when I entered high school, all of those things was a part of what I was trying to accomplish anyway. So obviously I was really, really excited to be a McDonald's All-American, but I knew I was going to be one, because that's one I was working towards. I knew I was going to be a Hoop Summit player because I was working my ass off to become one. I knew I was going to get invited to USA camps because I was working my ass off to become one. I knew I was going to be a highly recruited player because that's who I was working to become. So I wasn't I'm just, once a decision is made or something is received, I'm on to the next thing. All right, that's been accomplished. Let's move on to the next thing. Hopefully, God's willing, one day if I get drafted, that's going to be an amazing feeling. Every player wants to be drafted, every player wants to, or if it's overseas or anywhere, every player wants to play professionally. But once the opportunity is laid out in front of you and you take it, basketball is not over. You got to be the best player overseas, the best player in the NBA, the best player yourself. It's a constant cycle until you hit a certain age where bones don't work no more. But I'm not there yet, hopefully.
No.
It's a constant grind, constant process. I'm my worst critic. I'm my worst critic. There's no one else in this world that's harder on Scottie Lewis, and that's just a fact. Sometimes it kills me. Sometimes I listen to myself too much. Yeah. But I think if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be as driven as I am.
Yeah.
Constantly competing with myself over and over again.
It's a great, I think that it's a great attribute, characteristic to have of being a critic for yourself. But, is there, I think with just about anything in life, we need to have balance, because, the percent chance that for you to even be where you are right now as a Black man in America, with all the odds to be playing at the college that you're playing with, the scholarship, et cetera, for that to just happen, the odds, the statistics are so small. Do you take a chance sometimes to say, wow, I've, through everything that's happened or whatever, I'm proud of myself for how far I am right now. Because, that it can become self-deprecating. It can become counterintuitive, where it's all right, man, we want to continue to cultivate gratitude, because that can also continue to help you say wow, I've been given this platform, and this already for sure. I'm going to continue to use it in the best way possible. I'm not gonna allow, and I had to get to that point sometimes, because after a bad game, whatever it may be, the carryover would destroy or affect and touch so many parts of my life. And it's like outside of basketball, and it's dang, at the end of the day, I love it. I'm passionate about it, but it's just a game, I don't have to be, short with my girlfriend or whatever, just because that side of my life isn't going exactly where I want it to go. Are you able to still have that kind of balance throughout the process?
It's a working process, honestly.
Yeah, I get that.
Tough, when you're your worst critic and the only person that you turn to for feedback is yourself, you remember every single moment of the game where you could have done something better.
Yeah.
And obviously you wish those moments back, or you can make that shot. And it's even more frustrating. You work out so much, you prepare so much, and then when that preparation doesn't, carry over, it's you just want to get back into the gym and try to make sure it carries over. Just it's frustrating. I'm never not I'm a very happy person, uplifted person for the most part. But basketball is the one thing that just there's always little bit of frustration behind it that's fueling so much stuff. So
yeah, I get that. You got a vision, bro. Like you literally just said it. Like you have a lot of times I think people go through life without even having an aim for something. Like you said, you expected, you weren't surprised when you got your McDonald's All-American, whatever it may be, because you were aiming towards that. You had a vision. And but there were ups and downs through that process of getting there. And that's life. Accepting that sometimes things don't go well, get back in the gym. Game goes really well, I'm still gonna get back in the gym. Like it is an ongoing process that you never settle, but you want to sometimes you I'm on the right path. I can take a second to take a breath and just pat myself on the back and say, give myself a break. Because, we get stuck, our minds just go through these negative black holes sometimes, and we end up being the worst player in our minds. Like, hold on, man. You ain't that, you're not bad. This is just part of growth. It's part of life.
I'm working on just getting over myself.
Yeah.
Just like Kobe said it best, when you airball those shots, it's he had to just get over himself and resort to watching film and figuring out why he airballed the shots instead of what everyone else thought. Kobe Bryant airballed 3 shots. So what? It's bigger than you. It's not that important. And
right.
I'm working towards that. I haven't gotten there yet. It's just, I don't know. I wish I wasn't so hard on myself, and everyone around me wishes I wasn't so hard on myself. Then it makes it even worse when the people around you are hard on yourself. If you make a mistake in practice, you know how it is. You make a mistake in practice, yourself, and then
Let me get them 5 push-ups.
Coaches are mad at you for the same mistake that you're already mad at yourself about. And then when you're super expressive, like I am, people just think that you're just a super emotional person, and I'm emotional. Being emotional makes me a great player or a good player at the college level. Without those things, I wouldn't be at the level that I'm at. So I don't know. I'm growing.
Yeah,
I can't say I'm not. I'm growing every day.
You're moving, man. You're moving forward. You're not complacent, and that's all we can all hope for. That we just continue to move. So, Scottie, what was it about during your recruiting process that made Florida stick out for you and decide that that's where you felt comfortable to that was your next destination that you wanted to call home?
For me, it was my relationship with my teammates. Prior to actually even touching down on campus, I was really close with Trey, Omar, obviously Alex. I grew up with him. I've known him since 7th grade. Been competing against him since 6th grade, and then when we got to campus, we were just excited for the team and the base that they had here with Andrew and Keyontae. And then we got KJ my freshman year. So I knew I'd be surrounded around a bunch of people that wanted to win. I know Coach White is borderline psycho, just like me, as far as wanting to win and being extremely competitive the way that he is. And just, he loves the preparation. I love the preparation. You're not going to always get along with your coach, but we love to win. And that's where we trust each other on so many levels, in game and in practice, to have certain conversations to where, this may be best for the team, and suggesting certain things to each other and talking with the whole entire coaching staff. It took me a long time to feel trusted, but once I got that trust on both ends, our relationship took off on and off the floor. So I'm really excited and happy about the decision that I made.
Yeah, definitely, man. I relate on that as far as, I butted heads and with Coach, because I didn't come in with the most humble attitude, being recruited, similarly to you being a 5-star recruit. It wasn't that I thought that I had all the answers. I just didn't have that humility of this is Coach Donovan. He's won so many games, national championships, helped so many guys get to the NBA. I just need to be a sponge. Whatever he says, do it. That should have been that. If that's the one advice I would have told myself going back, Pat, just treat it as though you know nothing, and that every single day Coach Donovan or the other assistants, they're going to teach you what to do and just do it hard. Do it as hard as you can. And if you mess up, at least you did it with 100% effort, because the last thing they want is a dude with bad attitude that's not going to listen. And he's giving terrible effort. So what, man? So it was a big time learning curve for me. So obviously, going into your freshman year, there was a lot of expectations. You and Trey being highly recruited, preseason number 6 team that year. Everyone was excited. Oh yeah, we got a good team. This and that, blah blah blah. It's like, hold on, these guys are freshmen. KJ's coming in. He's coming from a different program. This is a new system. Coach White's still fairly new. What were your expectations, and then what was the biggest learning curve for you coming into your freshman year?
Honestly, everything you just said about yourself as a freshman, literally down to the T. I came in just having so much expectation for myself. This is going to be my team kind of thing, and I'm gonna, Coach White's gonna let me do this and that. My teammates and I are gonna have all this fun, and we're preseason, and we just got KJ and Andrew's coming back, and Keyontae Johnson, who I was a big fan of throughout my high school career. I'm gonna have a chance to play with him. Noah Locke had a crazy freshman year. I'm thinking I'm hot shit. I'm thinking our team is just them. We're really them. And for the longest time, I just didn't listen. I genuinely didn't listen. I thought I had every answer. I thought that certain things were not as black and white as they should be. Coach White is a very it's either you do it or you don't want to do it. Very black and white. And I always thought there was a gray area. I always thought there was a gray area. We would be doing 5 and 4.5 in practice, and he's like, Scottie, why didn't you close out with your right hand on a left-handed shooter? I'm we just was playing this game for 10 minutes, and it's the last minute, and I'm tired. That's not an excuse. That's a gray area, trying to get myself out of the situation instead of just being yes, sir, and allowing the practice to carry on and move on. I would be very just definitive and very I'd have opinions and things that didn't help me or help the team in any way. And I was like that for so long. And that's why it took me a long time. That's why I was so inconsistent my freshman year. And that's why I had certain inconsistencies this year. But it took me a while to figure out Coach White, as a coach and a person. It took me so long to figure it out. So, obviously during the recruitment process, you don't really know how the coaches are. You don't really know how they are as people, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? They can watch all the games. You can watch them coach. But you never really know until you're in that setting. So it's totally different when you get to campus, obviously. So how I was used to being coached is just not how Coach White is, So I had to get used to that. The team had to get used to playing with such a, vocal, emotional player like myself. And once we figured it out, we really started winning games, and obviously, I started playing. My last 10 games of my freshman year were really good, and that's when I figured it out. And then this year, I've had certain inconsistencies, but it's been just me being hard on myself. But everything that you said, I was the exact same way in my freshman year.
I got a great quote to somebody extremely wise just said this. I saw it on Instagram. It goes exactly with what you just said. Stop trying to get people to understand you. Continue as you do. Better yourself for yourself. Get to learn who you are at your own pace and not at the pace of others. It takes a lifetime of wisdom and experience to understand one's own complexities. So why stress when others don't understand you? You know who said that? That sounds like a person that has gone through some things that understands it's a journey. It is not about fulfilling other people's expectations, especially the ones that are not in the gym. If there's anybody's expectations you're going to fill, it should be the ones that you're with every day, the coaches, your teammates, not wanting to let my guys down, doing whatever it takes. Because that stuff outside, man, fans they don't know what's going on. They just have opinions. They just see. They don't know X's and O's. Your family whoever best friends, they want the best for you. Of course, they want to see you do well, but they don't know what's going on with the team and the schemes. And like you're on your own journey, you know, and it sounds like you've really got to a place after these, you know, year and a half, which is fine. You know, everyone has their own journey where they get it. Like, right, I don't have all the answers, but I am like finally getting where in a great rhythm and understanding like it's okay that I don't know everything. It's okay, like, and I'm just gonna keep doing my best to try and figure myself out and give it my all. So it's really encouraging hearing that you wrote that quote.
Yeah. I started. Yeah, I was like, you know, this sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah, man. So last year, you know, I was there with you guys for a little bit in January and February, which is really cool. Then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, you know, in February and everything shut down. You know, you guys were starting to look much better going into, I mean, that tough Kentucky loss you guys had at home. But then other than that, you know, you guys are going to make the tournament, et cetera. But the season gets shut down. And I got to say, man, you probably have faced, you know, your class has probably faced the most adversity of any class in college basketball history. You know, what was going through your mind when the, you know, season's over?
At first, I was really sad, honestly. You know, KJ, KJ super hard himself as well. I don't think he had the season that he thought he should have had for himself and that he thought that the team should have had. So looking at him and some of our other older guys and Coach White, you know, there's so many things that I look back on that season and wish I could get back. You know, that time and at that 3-4 month period where I was struggling with Coach White and just the staff because I wasn't listening and my immaturities. I wish I could take those things back. And, you know, after the season was over, I didn't think I was coming back to school because I had a really good last 10 games and I was excited just to start training and, you know, start the pre-draft process and stuff like that. And because of COVID, I wasn't able to have a real pre-draft or have workouts and have interviews with teams and them having to, you know, have this kind of setting, you know, face-to-face or on Zoom, things like that. And that hindered me in a lot of ways for my process. So I made the decision to come back. So that was difficult because that was obviously an expectation that I set for myself. Obviously, I felt down for Coach White and just for our entire staff. We went through so many things my freshman year, and for something like that to happen with all the momentum that we had going into the tournament, like we knew we were playing Georgia the next day. Everyone was really excited. It was nothing but positive energy, words of affirmation, just making sure everyone was on the right mental mindset to prepare themselves for that single bye that we had in those 4 games. You know, we were prepared to win those 4 games. Yeah. We were prepared to win those 4 games. And I think that's what's really carrying this team through our game today, our game Saturday, and those games starting on the 12th. So I think what we should have done last year is going to happen this year, and I have full confidence in that. So we'll be holding up a championship like we should have been last year on March 14th. And I'm just excited to get out there and just show everyone that the team last year I was going to get the job done, and this year's team is going to do the same thing that we should have done last year. But that COVID shit was really frustrating the entire summer. Really frustrating when the season ended because we were all watching games in the basement in the bottom level of the hotel. We went upstairs. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, JB texts us and says, "Can everyone report back downstairs?" And like, we're all in the elevators looking at each other. Like, yo, like we hope they don't cancel the season. Then the NBA just canceled their season. Then the ACC just canceled their season. Then the Big Ten just canceled their season. And we're like, this all happened in a matter of the 2 minutes we were on the elevator.
Wow.
So we're all just like, yeah, they're JB's about to tell us they're canceling the season. And that was it. We got on a plane that night. It got back to the hotel. Got back to Gainesville March 11th. I celebrated my birthday here. And then I went home probably 2 days later.
Wow.
So it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, my heart just broke for all the guys that were seniors. Even though obviously I ain't no fan of Florida State, can't stand them Seminoles, but them boys like Coach Leonard, he actually had like that. I think that would have been a team that they had a chance to win it all, or at least make his first Final Four. You know,
They had a group.
and
They had a group.
You know, so many seniors and teams that had a chance to really, and you know, KJ, I got a chance to be his teammate for a little bit this past season. I was like, man, you know, just not your last year or having a great season is just ended on you right there. But you know, life happens like that sometimes, and you got to continue to move on. I'm sure it gave you such a greater perspective and so much gratitude of like, you know, like how you appreciate the game even more. And even the preparation into this season, because you guys couldn't really have and I'm sure it's still weird now. Like there's not really in-person classes, and
It's nothing, no strongman, Preston, none of that stuff.
Oh, y'all couldn't do strongman training this year either?
No strongman.
Wow, I know Preston was mad.
Preston was tight.
I know he was mad. That is Preston. Preston lives for strongman training. Like I think I don't know. Like he tested it out on us, but my sophomore year, and I was like, I'm like, yo, I'm a basketball player. Why am I pushing a truck? Like,
yeah, it's like, and we talk about it, and like other schools ask us, like, yo, like we heard you do this strongman thing. I'm like, yo, don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. Just don't, bro.
I can't tell you how many people ask me about that because I got a video on YouTube when I go through like the last day of training of strongman during the summer when you got to do everything. Someone followed me on camera that whole thing, and I didn't throw up. I was about to, but that jump was crazy, bro.
It was wild.
But I want to transition to another topic. So in the midst of this pandemic last year, we all know what happened to George Floyd, that he got murdered on camera. Everybody saw exactly what happened, you know, and you obviously, and I want to give you a chance to, you know, share about your summer as well with your activism. Something sparked inside of you, and there can be a lot of fear in wanting to step up and say something, even in the midst of seeing that of like, you know, it's not right what happened, but to actually go out and lead a march and to be so vocal about Black Lives Mattering, like what propelled you in that sense of like knowing like, hey, like this is what I want to do. This is where I stand. I want to help. I want to make a difference. You know, how were you able just to and get support from the school? Because I know the school supported you as well in doing that. You know, tell me about that whole process.
So I had already had a nonprofit organization, which I started my junior year of high school. It was just myself and my mom and my grandmother at that time. And we did some Hoops for the Homeless events. What's
the name of it so you can plug it so people can
It's Peace by You. So it's Peace by just the letter U, which basically means our job is to help everyone else find their peace and let it be created by them. And whatever they think brings them peace, our job is to capitalize on that and just spread their message, spread their story, spread our message, and spread our story. So by my freshman year, my freshman year summer, when all that stuff was going on, we did a full like 360 flip and became an activist group kind of by accident. I was in Georgia and there was a protest out there. I was visiting my dad, and we just happened to walk right into the middle of a protest. And I was always, you know, invested in activism and philanthropy and, you know, just being extremely candid as a player. You know, I've always been someone who's spoken their mind, and if something bothers me, sometimes I shouldn't say certain stuff, but, you know, this is just a topic that there's no way I was going to be quiet about it. And I got a lot of backlash this summer. You know, Scottie Lewis isn't focused. Scottie Lewis, are you still even a basketball player? It's just so much stuff. And not that I cared, but myself, my brother, my girlfriend, 3 of my best friends, we created just a super team. We all had different goals, and we all had different strengths that really made the team what it was this summer. So we had our first protest in Georgia. That following weekend, we had another protest in Asbury Park, which is predominantly a Black community that's being gentrified right now, or going through that process. And we had certain boundaries and stuff, streets we couldn't walk on, things like that during the protest. And certain people were shouting, like, why aren't we going down that street? But the mayor of Asbury and the police department was extremely helpful throughout that process. Then when I got to campus, I was contacted by some local Gainesville residents, and they wanted me to hold another protest here. And it was a long summer. It was a long summer. It was filled with so many mixed emotions, and you really got to be right in the heart, in the middle of what everyone was feeling. I think the best part of the summer was seeing so many, this large, diverse group of people standing up for, one common thing. And that's really what kept us going this summer. So it was definitely, I don't know. I think the driving point was that when I look around and, I grew up with 4 brothers. I have 7 sisters. My dad, my mom, obviously, just my entire family. That could have been me, and it could have been any of them. Yeah. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, like any of them. It could have been any of them at any moment in time. So I don't know. I guess I don't know.
It's crazy, man, that so many people criticize athletes or whatever for using their platform to speak on social issues or whatever it may be. And it's like, you don't need to be an expert to say, like, I want equality for everybody. You can just be a human being. But I want to ask you this, what is your hope that, through what has been exposed in the unequal systems, the whatever it may be, police brutality, the education system, the healthcare system, just talking the conversations about race, that it's something that people really didn't talk about for a while. Like, what is your hope of how we will talk about, or how things will look in the future? Because I think at some point, the people that are very rigid, because I think your generation, my generation, is so much more open to seeing everyone as equal, seeing everyone. What's your character? I want to know your character before I even care about what you look like. What is your hope for how things are going to look for our nation and this world in the future?
Honestly, I'm hoping that we realize that, our problem is not a political problem. I think, obviously, I voted for Joe Biden. I wasn't the biggest Trump fan in any way, shape, or form, but not because of his policies or his political views or him being our president. I think it's the arrogance, the negativity, and the lack of love and respect that he stood for. Obviously, there was a huge wave. Not that, there wasn't negativity before he was the president, but he made those dark entities come to light. And he was a face for a country that had so much to hide. And many people gained so much by him being the president. Just freedom of hatred. This problem is that we're having, like, Joe Biden's not going to stop people from being racist. Okay? He's not. He's like, no president can do that. No one who's a government official has the ability to do that. No politician has the ability to do that.
Policies and laws don't change anybody's heart.
Not in any way, shape, or form. If you put out a law that says it's illegal to be racist, it's illegal to have hate crimes, no matter how big or how small, people are still going to do them. People are still going to be racist. The problem with bigotry and inequality and racism, those are taught. Those are things that are taught. Those are things that are shown to children. So I think when he's like, I'm hoping that there's some sort of education reform. You know, I'm hoping that there's some sort of neutral environment to where we can express the positives of having people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, different cultures come together and create something that's so great.
Yeah.
You know, I was never taught to like fear or hate or like any of that. You know, I lived in New York. I lived in the Bronx, surrounded by pretty much Puerto Rican and Black people, Jamaicans. Like that's what I was surrounded by. Then when I moved to Jersey, I was the only Black kid. You know, like going to Rainey, I can name every Black kid that was in that school. Yeah. And we had pre-K to 12th grade. I could still name every Black kid in that school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I could still also name every Indian, every Asian that was in that school. You know, I think Randy set a strong foundation for me. I started going there in 8th grade. They set a really strong foundation for me and for everyone else as far as how diversity works and how diversity should work. And because of those foundations that were set and how they really took time out to, you know, I didn't have a week of we're going to talk about slavery. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that. You know, we talked about everything. I had a class in high school that was African-American history.
Wow. Had that in high school.
In high school. And that's not something that's common. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like we read African-American literature. We read heroes that are not talked about commonly in African-American history. You know what I'm saying? Like those are things that like I experienced at a young age. Other schools don't even think about that. Let alone private schools. Majority of private schools are predominantly white, especially in the U.S., or predominantly Asian, especially in the U.S.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's a class for that and there's clubs for that, and they allow these clubs to express things. We had 3 cultural days in 1 year, to where you would walk on the track and get to experience different cultural foods, different cultural music, different cultural way of lives. Like that's how you teach diversity. That's how you embed diversity and you respect differences within a school environment. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But the thing is, there's got to be an intentionality of seeking diversity in your life. You know, if I'm only going to spend my entire life around people that only look and think like me, I believe I'm missing out on other cultures that God created. So I feel like I'm falling short. I'm falling short of experience so much and having my perspective open. I think, you know, to piggyback on you, man, I really think that a big problem of our nation and our country and social media has made it even worse. People want to fight so much to be right and to be heard versus let me just listen. Let me hear where you're coming from. Let me understand you. What have you experienced? And you can't feel that way. You can just because you've experienced what you've experienced. You feel like you've gone through what you're going through. Let me try to understand you. And if we just had a heart of that in our country, in everything, man, in relationships, whatever it may be, this world would be a completely different place.
Completely, like everything is so competitive, and it's always been that. It's always been that. You know, I understand that it's extremely hard for a country built on take and never give. It's hard for our society to transition into that. And like you said, which I think is great, like if you're constantly surrounding yourself around people who have the same opinion as you and look exactly like you, what culture are you gaining? What knowledge are you gaining? What information is constantly new to you? In the way like social media works, if I say pancakes 8 times, I'm gonna get an IHOP commercial on my TikTok or on my Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So like the more that you talk about things that you feel and that the people around you feel the same way, that's what you're gonna see.
Yeah.
You're gonna see things that validate your opinion. You're gonna see things that validate how you feel. You're gonna see things that validate your beliefs. And you're never gonna see things that may, you know, have you second guess, you know, maybe my opinion is not wrong, but maybe I can add other values and other morals to it to where I I have a broader spectrum. You know, like why would that not be something that I'm interested in? And I think that people and the problem is I don't think people don't understand that. I think a lot of people don't understand that. But I think more than what I think, people understand that, but they refuse to go out of their comfort zone and express and learn something new. Place yourself in a different setting. Like I wasn't only a basketball player in high school. Like I was the vice president of the poetry club. I was a part of the thespian. Like I was the thespian I was a part of the thespian society. There wasn't a play or a musical that I wasn't a part of. Wow. You know, being it like I had so many friends and I
forgot you can sing.
You know, like people don't place themselves in uncomfortable environments. And like it works the same in life and in basketball. If you don't make yourself comfortable, there's no room for growth because you're always in a comfort zone. They're always in a comfort zone. And that's what it is for race. Like if I never experienced like another culture or you know, another kind of whatever, like how can I ever learn to appreciate what I have?
Yeah.
Like there's literally third world countries, you know? Like if I didn't know there were third world countries or I've never been to a third world country, I visited DR and we were on a tour of DR. And just seeing the villages and how people live in other countries and other places, that made me more grateful to come back home and realize the essence of what I have. Even though it may not be a lot in the American society, but to other people, what I have is huge.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. That's why, I mean, for me, especially when I was playing basketball overseas, in college and basketball, primarily basketball overseas, I made it a goal to make a friend outside of basketball, you know, make a friend that can help me expose me to the culture or expose me to different things because it's cool. I love my teammates, but you know, they all basketball players or they have families and we all kind of like are thinking the same kind of stuff. And I'm like, why don't I just have some friends outside of basketball that we can do other things together so I can like I just said, be exposed to something. But Scottie, I know you got to get prepared for game day. I got one last question for you. This has been a great show, great podcast. Awesome. So much adversity so far in this year and your experiences so far, and you've gotten into it. But I got one last question for you. How do you want to be remembered? I know that's a loaded question.
How do I want to be remembered?
How do you want to be remembered? Because you're involved in so many different things. You already know that you're more than a basketball player. That's just something that you do. It's a tool, something you're passionate about. You got so many great things going for you in your life. You're open-minded. You're always looking to grow. You know, how do you want to be, you know, when people think about Scottie Lewis, you know, 60 years from now? And that's, like I said, it's a loaded question because that's I'm putting you in the time machine right now.
How do I want to be remembered? That's like a question no one's ever asked me before, like ever.
Got it on the show, brother.
I guess I want to be remembered for the person that I portray myself to be. So if you know, I think that I'm extremely open-minded. I think that I'm loving. I'm caring. I think that I'm a good person. I think that I'm a good man. I think that I'm someone that has complexities and I'm constantly growing and I'm constantly working on those complexities on myself. I don't know. I guess I just want to be remembered for everything that I've ever done that's impacted someone else. And I want to be, I guess, I don't know. If I had one word, I want to be remembered as a giver.
Yeah. I love that, man.
I think I want to be remembered as a giver. You know, obviously I've received a lot through basketball and through my relationships, but I just want to be remembered as someone who gave his all at all times and gave his time and love and passion to other people. I think I want to be remembered as a giver, for sure.
Yeah, I think we find true meaning in life when we find service and giving to other people, especially, you know, true kindness is giving or doing something for someone without any expectation of them ever repaying you and
Repaying.
ever repaying you back. Like, you just literally did it out of the kindness of your heart. I don't want anything. This is just you. And I want to, since we were talking about Kobe, I was listening to him earlier this morning on one of my podcasts, and Kobe was talking about what he thinks greatness is. And this is a perfect way to end the podcast. Kobe said that greatness, true greatness, is when you can inspire others, being a person that inspires others. And I got to tell you, man, about to be 21 years old, you coming up here on March 12th, man, you're exhibiting that true greatness right now, man. And I can't wait to see how the rest of your life is going to unfold. Thank you so much for your time, finally getting you on the show, man. This has been a true pleasure. Everyone's gonna get a chance to get to hear from you, but me just getting this chance to get to sit down and talk with you, man, it's been a true blessing. So thank you so much for your time, dog. Good luck today as well.
Sure, I appreciate you, brother. We'll take it home for you today. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. All right, my man. I'll catch you later.
All right, big bro. All love.